The following video is sponsored by Dangbei.
Dangbei's latest projector is the Mp1 Max, and it is a ultra bright LED system combined with tri-laser setup. So we get the best of both worlds here with it. Now it does have a maximum brightness of 3100 lumens. It supports HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and we have for this model here, Google TV is our operating system. Like we're seeing before, this gimbal system that it does have, which is really good and useful. Speaking of useful, it's got auto keystone correction and autofocus that works within seconds, and it is flawless, making this a projector that you'd be able to move about from room to room, and the setup is going to be very quick and easy. No manually having to set the keystone, which you have to with some units. It's got built-in speakers. They are 12 watts each, and they do put out some pretty good sound considering the size of it all here. And I'll be going over the image quality, fan noise, what those speakers sound like, all in this video.
Included, you will find a user manual for it. We have our typical Android TV remote there, and there are 3 buttons dedicated to the most popular apps there, which is YouTube, Netflix, and Prime Video. We've got 2 AAA batteries for it, a power cable, and then the power supply, which is 240 watts.
With Dangbei, we have seen them use this gimbal design before, and I really do like it. I'm a big fan of it because it's steady, the base, but you've got so much flexibility with this. I mean, you can spin it around here 360 degrees, you can aim it where you want, and then you have 135 degrees that you can also rotate this right up like that. You can aim it at a ceiling, you can drop it right down depending on where you're going to mount it. And yes, it can be ceiling mounted too as well. Now up the front here, it's a little hard to see because it's dark here, but there is a camera, time of flight camera, and some other sensors here. And that's to do with the auto keystone correction, autofocus. It does have the obstacle avoidance. All of those features will be demonstrated in this video. And then we have our projection. So this is the combination of LED and then laser. So the tri-laser setup, 3100 lumens maximum brightness with it. And it does support HDR10 Plus. And we are looking at here about 20,000 hours of light source life that this has, which is reasonably good. I mean, we see some units with 30,000, but 20,000 is still excellent. It's going to give you a lot of hours there. Color gamut BT 2020, 110% of that. And the contrast ratio, well, it's 900 to 1. We've got built-in speakers. They're 12 watts each. They sound good considering they're only 12 watts. They're built in. And again, there will be a sample of that in the video later on. And what really impresses me is the cooling on this device. So this whole back here is a huge vent. And when you look inside, you can actually see all of that cooling there. So you've got transfer heat pipes, and it's pushing that air out and keeping it all nice and cool. And you really feel that hot air. Fan noise sample will be provided in the video. And then for our ports here, we've got our DC in, which is down below here to power it. 2 HDMI supporting 4K 60, 1 supports eARC, which is important. And we've got a USB 2 port, which is type A, of course. And I have a Logitech receiver in there for keyboard and mouse. I can confirm that works well. 3.5mm headphone jack. And finally, up the front here, there is a power on button here. Physical push-in style button. Most of you will be using the remote to turn it on, but you can press and use that. So overall, good build quality, high quality plastics used. I do like the look of it. I think it's a great looking 4K projector. So I have the projector set up 3.1 meters away from my ALR screen right here, and I'm projecting at almost 100 inches. It is a little shy of that. It's about approximately 93 inches. To get that, so you've got to move that projector quite a bit back, and it does have a projection ratio, the throw ratio of 1.2 to 1. So definitely not short throw this projector. Here we are in Google TV. So if you're familiar with Google TV or previously Android TV, you'll know how this is laid out. So you've got your movies, and it's customized the screen here for you to start with based on what accounts you have added there. So we've got Netflix support with this, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video, and yes, it does support 4K and HDR, which is really good. We're not going to have any issues with that. I can confirm. I have tested it out. Disney Plus and all your favorite streaming apps. So you've got that huge catalog there with, of course, the Play Store. Now, if you go up to the top here, you'll see movies and shows. and your apps that you can go along and download those. So it's all pretty straightforward. What I've noticed is the performance is very good. Even though this is only running with 2 gigabytes of RAM, its quad-core chip is fine. We've got the 32 gigabytes of internal storage, but that is actually all you need. It's very lightweight Google TV, so you don't really need a powerful chip at all with this, and it's going to do all the decoding and everything else that we need to, and I've noticed no slowdown or issues with that. So if we jump here into the settings, I do want to go into here the projector more specific settings here that I think is a little bit more important than those Android TV ones that we probably already know. So autofocus, manual focus options you do have. Now you can tap the button on the side to do the manual focus if you want, but I find this autofocus is spot on. It is so good, and I'll get to that in just a short while here in the video. You have advanced, and we have the auto keystone correction too with this, which works absolutely fantastic. The fact that I didn't even need to go in and manually correct it. Now, if the keystone looks like it is off, that is to do with me using a wide-angled lens. Unfortunately, to fit everything in this projection, which is well over 92 inches, I really need to do that. Now we have a Bluetooth speaker mode that you can connect it up and use it as a Bluetooth speaker. And we've got some advanced settings in here. So eye protection, I will just demonstrate that now. So imagine if you do have pets or toddlers running around with small children or something. If they go in front of the screen, they block it a little bit. See what happens? Smart eye protection. It dulls that image down as soon as it detects that, okay? And it will then, as soon as it detects there's no one in front of it, go back to normal. We've got one-click dust removal. This is probably great to put on maybe I'd say every couple of months for maintenance. It's just going to blast those fans really loud, really powerfully, but it's going to blow all the dust out. So that's the idea of it, to stop it from chocking up with dust and possibly overheating, which I don't think is going to happen, but you never know in 5 years. And remote control. So pretty standard settings there. Projection mode, you can change that. If you're going to have it ceiling mounted, this is where you would do so. So I have jumped here into Netflix, very popular streaming app, and this I believe a lot of people would probably be using a lot with a projector like this. Now we do know that we have 4K support, but do we have the widevine insert that this needs to play the 4K content and HDR? It's all there, it's all good, you don't need to worry about that. So you can see the menu here, it loads and caches in very quick, no problems at all. I do not see any of these tiles lagging and coming in too slow or anything like that, not a problem. So I'll go up here to a quick example of Cobra Kai. I've tested this before. Let's have a look. So when we go into the main menu, it will tell us if we're going to have support for 4K and HDR. It does. It's showing all of that. And if I resume this episode here that I'm watching, I'll show you how quick it is. I know it does a bit of pre-caching, but it doesn't take long at all. There we go. Straight into it. And at the top left-hand corner, it did display HDR. So it's supporting the HDR. And I can see clearly this is in 4K. It is very detailed, this image. That's definitely not 1080p, especially when you're projecting over 90 inches. And by the way, you can project up to 180 inches here. You would see that. You would know straight away. You would go, oh, okay, that is definitely not 4K. But it is here with Netflix. And this is Prime Video. Just very quick, I'm going to show you a few seconds of this. It is Those About to Die, if you're wondering what TV series this is. Looks good. It is in 4K, just like Netflix, supports that. It took a little bit longer to cache and load in. I did notice that. Not quite as fast as Netflix for some reason. It's probably just down to maybe the service or something. You can see there, UHD support and the menu system. Not quite as quick as Netflix here. That when I do scroll up and down, I'll just get out of this menu. You can see a little bit slower for some of those thumbnails to pop in, but in general, the performance is good. So when I scroll up and down here, it is not lagging now, and I'm not seeing any of those thumbs missing. So for all your streaming apps out there, Disney Plus, Prime Video, Netflix, etc., is all going to work really good. Looking at some HDR content here at 4K, and this is 4K 60, and I do apologize if you don't like snakes and spiders, maybe skip this section, but it is looking excellent. I'm not seeing color fringing, I'm seeing no ghosting issues, there's no speckle, there's no sparkle. Now the contrast ratio, of course, is not going to be good as an OLED. Nowhere near as good. And the black levels. We know this, we expect that. Now my ALR screen, which is dark, is definitely helping the blacks. They look very good for a projector. Now there's so much detail in here, it looks excellent. At the now 93 approximate inches I'm projecting at, it looks stunning to me. So I don't see any problems with the sparkle. And the contrast ratio, if you want to know, well, it's 900 to 1, and of course we have that 3100 lumens, the brightness. And wow, look at the details too in those scales. Absolutely amazing. I hope that I can just capture this as good as I am seeing it with my own eyes here, because it looks amazing. This has to be one of the better projectors that I've certainly covered out of 4K projectors here. Dangbei's done an excellent job with this image quality. So it's all very well me showing just how the image quality here is in a pitch black environment. Of course, it's going to look the absolute best. Those blacks look dark, they're deep. As soon as I turn on this light, not the case anymore. They now are very gray, and we don't have deep blacks at all, which is to be expected. I'm pointing now a 100-watt studio light onto this. My ALR screen is certainly helping a lot with this, but you can see that it is still all legible, and I could watch something with this. Ideally, it wouldn't be the best quality, but it's possible. So if you have a window open or you've got a bit of light coming in, you still want to use this projector, you can, thanks to that 3100 lumens. I've connected my PlayStation 5, which it has detected, and it's in HDR10 4K 60 Hz. Although with this game, Final Fantasy, it is only running, I believe, no, this is definitely 30 frames per second. And when I look around, you can see it kind of blurs. That's the game. That isn't the projector that's doing that. What it does have, however, is a lot of detail. It's looking good. In HDR, the darker areas, you can notice that, but it's a little bit hard for me to capture this on camera. I'm not filming in HDR. I don't have an HDR capable camera set up, unfortunately. But this is good. Now, I did put it into the gaming mode. You don't really notice it so much with this type of game, but it is going to improve our latency there, and that is good. So the input lag is good. Everything's fine. So when I turn to the left and right, I'm not noticing huge delays or anything like that. It's good for console level gaming like this. But I'll jump it now to a racing game, which will really test that out, and I'll make sure it's at 60 frames per second. I do have it set to the performance preset for our visuals, so this is going to give me the 60 frames per second. I believe it can actually go up to 120, but it's going to be nice and fast for me. And I want to check on that response time here, and it's good. Input lag is absolutely fine, even for a racing game such as this one here with Dirt 5. I know, an old game, but it's still a very, very good one. And yeah, really enjoyable playing this at well over 90 inches. I prefer this to playing on my 40-inch 4K monitor that I have. This is just so much more enjoyable having this huge size screen here, especially when it comes to console gaming and games like this, like racing games, racing titles. So immersive, having such a huge, large screen. And it looks amazing. Love gaming like this. So some projectors can be very loud, especially the more affordable, cheaper projectors, but not here. This Dangbei MP1 Max, very good fan noise. So the whole back of it, as I pointed out when we looked at the design, this is all like a radiator here. You've got the cooling fins inside. The fan noise is at a minimal RPM. It's not irritating. You don't normally hear it. And you can really feel that hot air being pushed out the back of this. And as a result, I think the cooling in this is excellent. They keep that fan noise right down, they keep it cool, and you only hear it really if you're going to be using the ultra bright mode. That's when it steps up a little bit, but in standard, it is really good. Perhaps one of the best I have tested out. So here's a sample in this standard mode of the fan noise that you can expect from the MP1 Max. And for a small unit, it can be loud when it needs to be. And I'm talking, of course, about those speakers. So 12 watts each. They pump out a decent amount of bass. The mids are good. There is some highs in there too as well. I think very decent for built-in speakers. You can't expect too much. If you want really good sound, then you have to use an external system, of course. But if this was going to just be moved about and you were going to be using those internal speakers, they're not disappointing. They will fill a standard size, decent room, a really huge room. Probably not, but here's a sample at 80% volume, and you'll hear what I mean. They sound good for built-in speakers. The MP1 has obstacle avoidance. If you have something in the way, like this plant, who put that there? I mean, come on. Well, go into the projector settings, find image correction, and it's not on by default. You have to enable this, is to go then to the advanced menu and turn on avoid obstacles. And that's exactly what it will do now. It sees that, hang on, there's a plant in the way. Now, in order for that to work, I will have to get it to do the auto keystone correction again. And you'll see now the sensor at the front and the camera will see, hang on, there's something in the way. And you'll watch as it's going to resize that image. It's going to see that there and go, hang on, there we go. It's done its job and sized the screen according to that obstacle which is in the way. So a stunning projector here from Dangbei. You get a really nice sharp image. I don't see any of the typical kind of issues that you can see with laser setups. I mean, this is a hybrid, so it's LED and the tri-laser, but often you see the reds dominating too much, maybe a bit of color fringing, some speckle, none of that. None of that is there. Thankfully, this unit offers and produces really good image quality. Now, if you do happen to splash out for an ALR screen, you're going to get really good results, as I have seen with this. And the built-in speakers, 12 watts, I think aren't bad at all, considering this is a relatively small unit here, and it's good to have that option of built-in speakers, even though I think most people will probably go with some powerful external speakers. Maybe you're going to go for a surround setup or whatnot. Well, you still can move this about. And when you do move it about, wow, does that autofocus and keystone correction work really well. It is impressive. You can just move it about wherever, and as I showed you, it will in seconds correct that and get a very good keystone. And it's really painful to set that up manually on any projector, and this just removes all of that hassle. You've got your obstacle avoidance, as I demonstrated. If you happen to have something in the way, then it can resize itself. And this gimbal system, I like that they've used it again. I think it's really practical. You can move it about, aim it exactly where you want. Maybe you want to project it up onto a ceiling or something. You can do it with this projector. And if you feel like it, you can also have it ceiling mounted too as well with it. Fan noise is another area that really does impress me, that it's a very quiet unit in the standard mode. If you put it into the ultra bright mode, you hear the fan a little more. Even so, it's a lot quieter than some of the competition out there. So thank you so much for watching this video of the Dangbei MP1 Max.